G'day, Jono here from J&A Down Under. Today we're going to give you a guided tour through our beloved 2011 Troop Carrier. Now I purchased this new in November 2011 and we gave it a rebuild in 2020 when the COVID hit. So today what I want to do is I want to take you and show you what accessories we've got, what ideas we've had and what we've put into it. We'll start at the front, we'll work our way through to the back. Once we get to the back we'll do a bit of a tour inside, start at the bottom and through to the top, and let's see what goodies this thing's got packed for us here today. So before we get into it, let's just do a quick walk around. The first thing you'll probably notice is the Troopy's not your standard coloured white. That's right, it's actually a pearl white colour, and the bar work is graphite. Both the pearl white and the graphite are an exact similar match to that of the 200 series colours. Another thing that you won't see is the front and rear diffs have the ARB air diff lockers fitted. Now as we make our way around to the back, you will notice that the back diff is the same width as the front. It actually has the True Tracker diff correction kit that's been installed into it. I will note that every modification and all the accessories on the Troopy have all been signed off by an engineer and have the certificate compliance. So here we are at the front end of the Troop Carrier. Up the front we've got the ARB bull bar sitting up the front. Underneath the ARB bull bar we've got the Evo Warn electric winch. This particular winch is IP68 rated, so it's dust and water protected inside. Great one, I haven't had to rebuild it yet. However, we have had a little incident with the cable, but another story for another day. To help the roads lit up at night time, we're running the ARB Intensity Lights, a set of those. They work fantastic. Also what we've got is the GME aerial up here for running our UHF. We've got the RFI antenna. That particular one runs our Cel-Fi or telephone service, and this one is a 27 meg aerial which runs the 27 meg. So here we are down the passenger side of the Troop Carrier. Up the front we're actually running the ARB scrub bars. They're the bigger diameter scrub bars that we've put on, and with those we've got incorporated the side step to make it a little bit easier to get an on and off, and it also helps protect the side of the Troop Carrier. Underneath the scrub bar up the front we're running the ARB flares, and I've also got a little extension flare on there as well, just so that those bigger tyres that we've got fitted to the Troopy don't damage the side with the stones. Down the back we've also got the flares fitted as well as the little extension as well, because we've actually had the True Track diff widener in, which we'll go into a little bit more detail. The windows on the side, we've had them tinted. They're as legally dark as they can possibly go to keep the sun out, and that makes a big difference driving through the summer heat. Anyway, let's go around the back and have a bit of a look. So down the back of the Troop Carrier we're running the Kaymar bar. With the Kaymar bar we've got the spare wheel carrier and the double jerry can holder, which is a perfect spot to hold that wheel. It gets it out from underneath to give us a bit more ground clearance, but also gives us some drinking water and extra fuel or petrol for the boat. So that's a fantastic addition that we've made to the back there as well. Underneath, when you look down underneath there, we've got the tow bar which we have set up for our caravan. We've got an Anderson plug, and we've also got the 12-pin flat plug as well, which also caters for all the accessories within the van and all the charging circuits that's required to run it. Next to that we've also got a tap. That tap can be used to water things down from our onboard water tank. To help light up the night sky, down the back we've got two Nighthawk reversing lights which can also be used as normal camp lights, and they can be operated through the Link system. On the spare wheel carrier we've also got the Kaymar LED light, which can be used as a 360-degree light, and it can raise up or down and can focus the light on to whatever part of the camp you feel is required there at night. So let's go around and have a look at the side. Here we are down the driver's side of the Troop Carrier. Down the back we've got a ladder that we use to access the roof, and it's also, we use it as the emergency ladder if you like to access the rooftop tent. Not the best on your feet, but it gets you out of trouble when required. As per the other side, we're running the ARB side bars and side steps incorporated with the checker plate step to make it a little bit easier to get in and out of the Troop Carrier. We've also got the weather shield, and we've got the Safari Armax Snorkel also at the front of the Troop Carrier as well to help get that airflow through. Alright, that's the side. So what we'll do is we'll have a look and we'll start underneath, and then we'll work our way up to the top and see what other goodies we've got in the truck. Here we go at the front end of the Troopy. What we're running on here is we're running the 17-inch Rock alloy wheels that are actually load rated, and that helps us with the extra load that the Troop Carrier is carrying. The tyres on the Troop Carrier are 305/70 R17s, so quite a big tyre. And underneath we're running the ARB Old Man Emu springs along with the BP51 shock absorbers. They've got the external reservoir on them that work, that just enables the shocks to work a little bit harder when on them corrugated roads. And I must say the suspension in this Troop Carrier does work flawlessly. Absolutely perfect for what we do. Anyway, let's have a closer look at a few other bits and pieces we got around the truck. Here we are under the back of the Troopy. I must say it's probably not the most comfortable position I've been in today. But yet again, under the back we're running the BP51 external reservoir shocks. The springs that we're running, they're the plus 450 Old Man Emu heavy duty springs, and we've also got them assisted with airbags, which we generally run with about 15 pound in most times, a little bit more when we're towing the caravan. Also under the back is probably one of my most favourite additions to the Troop Carrier, and that's the air horns. Wait till you hear what they sound like. We are under the bonnet of the Troopy. The first thing I want to point out to you is the Safari Armax ECU. Now this ECU gives the Troopy just a little bit more power from you, and I tell you what, it is a great addition to my Troopy. It absolutely loves it. The power that I've got out of it now just makes it that little bit more enjoyable to drive, and overtaking and passing with ease, something that the old V8 with the old ECU didn't quite have. Behind that we have the J-Max brake booster. J-Max brake booster gives us just that little bit more braking power with those bigger tyres, and also considering we've had the GVM upgrade, it's a well worth investment. Over the other side we're running 2 crank batteries. The reason we're running 2 crank batteries is to keep that winch at the front powered up when it's required. It also gives us peace of mind knowing that the Troopy is going to start first time every time. Alright, down the back we have the hot water through a heat exchange unit. Now that heat exchange unit runs off the radiator in the truck. So what it does is as the radiator gets hot, it warms the water through the heat exchange, which then gives us hot and cold water for our shower. Now you can adjust that temperature for the heat exchange unit through the thermostat on your heater in the truck. If you want it cold, just simply put it to the cold setting. If you want it hot, just simply move it up to the hot setting. It's as easy as that. And that gives us unlimited hot water when we're on the tracks. Great addition. We love it because it gives us a hot shower at the end of a tough day when we're out camping. Alright, I think that pretty well sums it up here under the bonnet. Also got the extra wiring for shunts and stuff, but don't want to bore you with all those sorts of details, but that gives you a bit of an overview of what we've got under our bonnet. Off the side of our Troopy we're running the 23-0 shower tent. Now this shower tent is a great addition to our truck. It enables us to have showers whenever we're camping in those remote locations. Fitted to the tent comes it's got a USB cord which we can plug into the outside of the Troopy, which gives us a night light in case we pull up to those campsites a little bit late at night. We can still have a shower in the dark. The shower tent is actually run off our onboard 86 litre stainless steel water tank, and from the 80 litre stainless steel water tank it's then fed through a heat exchange under the bonnet, which will help warm the water up as well. So not only can we have a shower, we can have a warm shower no matter where we are in Australia. Now how good is that for any addition to a four-wheel drive? So off the passengers of the Troop Carrier we have the Fox Wing Awning. Now the Fox Wing Awning is a great addition. Not only does it cover the passenger side, but it also covers the rear of the Troop Carrier, which is quite important for us because that's where our kitchen's located, our fridge and our barbecue and all our utensils, etc. So no matter how bad the weather can be, we can always cook our dinner knowing with peace of mind we're not going to get wet, or we're also protected from the sun. The Fox Wing also has some sidewalls that we can install, as well as the sidewalls. We also have the 30-second tent, which can zip onto one of these, which makes it a great component if we're taking the kids away and we need more beds than what the rooftop tent can offer. Underneath the rooftop awning, we've actually installed some LED lights. So the LED lights, they're controlled from our touch switch panel over here, which then turns on and off the lights. Now those lights can either be brightened or dimmed through use of a remote control. They also have a master switch up the front, which is run through the ARB Link System. So it's a really good addition to the Fox Wing. The thing I like about it is you can dim the lights right down. So if you're sitting around the fire at night, you can have just enough light out here so that when you come over to get yourself a beer out of the fridge, you can see exactly what you're doing and you're not tripping over your feet. It's a fantastic idea. Today in the setup, it was a little bit windy while we did it, so we needed both Ange and myself to assist with it, because the last thing you want on a windy day is for this thing to take off over the top of the truck. So here we go, this is our sleeping quarters on the Troopy. It's the Alu tent. Now this has only been an addition of the Troopy for around 2 years now, and we found it to be absolutely perfect for our needs. In the Alu-Cab, it's got the hard shell top, which means that the all-weather, whenever you get the strong weather or the sunrise, if you aim that towards the sun in the morning, it keeps you fairly cool because it's fairly well insulated. It's also got double thickness canvas on the inside as well, so it sort of acts as that tropical barrier, if you like. But no, we enjoy it quite much. Inside's a little bit fancy. As you can see, it's got the white roof interior, it's got the pockets, and it's also got some USB ports that we've installed for charging up your phones at night. So at the back, it's got the cover to cover over the rear window, which we find is a great addition, and it's got a 2-stage light as well. So that light can go extra bright, or you can just dim it down if you just need a little bit of light as well. I guess not as bright in your eyes in the middle of the night. We have another ladder that we do fit onto here. It's not quite as big, it's a bit bigger than that one. It makes it just that little bit easier to get up and down, especially as you get older. We can also override our lights and power from down the back on our touchpad switch that we've got, and that's also operated through the ARB Link System. So there we have it. This is our Alu-Cab Roof Top Tent. So here we are at the back of the Troop Carrier. As you can see in the back, these are our custom made drawers that we made back in the workshop. We were initially going to put the mattress in the back and fold the seat down and stay in there, but it was just a bit limited for room. So halfway through the build, we basically changed our mind, and that's when we opted to go for the rooftop tent. But as a result, I'm extremely happy with what we have in the back. Not only does it give us a set of drawers, a full working kitchen, pantry and fridge, it also gives us all this space on top, which is absolutely perfect for storing firewood and other bulky needs you might need when you go away camping, fire pit, etc. Anyway, let's take a closer look. As you can see, over the left hand side of our set of drawers, we have a pantry. In the pantry, that's where of course we keep all of our food. Up the top is a pipe, which is where we keep our tent poles for the Fox Wing Awning, which is a very good spot for them, very handy and easy to get to when we do our setups. Just below the pantry, we have ourselves an air valve. Now that's where our ARB air hose plugs into and inflates the tyres. Now we can inflate our tyres to a designated pressure because we're running the ARB Link System. So I just simply set the links to 40 psi, shove the valve on and up they go. It's as simple as that. Anyway, next in line is of course the ARB fridge. Now the ARB fridge, so far we've had it for a couple of years. It's proven itself. I've had the Engel fridges all my life. This is the first time I've veered away from it to go for the ARB, but it's the ARB Elements Fridge, but I'm incredibly happy with it. All right, let's have a look at it. So when we pull the fridge out, you can see it slides out on the slide nice and easily. When we open up the door, another feature I like inside is of course the LED lighting. Yes, I know all you can see in the fridge is beer and tomato sauce, or bourbons and tomato sauce, but that's just the way we like it, right? Also at the bottom of the fridge we also have a slide out chopping board, so we can slide that out and that helps prepare our food, because on the other side when we get to it is where we keep our barbecue and other cooking utensils, etc. So let's move along. Next to the ARB fridge we have the top drawer. In the top drawer we have our tools, chainsaw, battery charger, we got first aid kit, tyre repair kit, and all those things that you may need while you're camping. So again, it's probably the stuff that we need easy to get to. There's also an axe in there for splitting our firewood. Underneath that, this is where the kitchen, basically our kitchen setup is. So you can see when we open the drawer, in there we have our gas burner, we have our pop-out sink, pop-out strainer, and this is where we keep our toothbrush, knives, forks, toiletries. There's a Bushman's in there as well, you know, and all that sort of stuff, plates, cutlery, that's all stored in tubs at the back, which we find very easy. If we need to, we just simply pull a tub out and use it. So we set our cooker up here when we're cooking, and then of course we can prepare the food on that chopping board like we showed earlier. So there we go, fairly sort of simple setup there, but it absolutely suits our requirements just perfect. Over the far side, that's where we've got all of our electrical sort of stuff. In there we have our USB charger, cigarette charger, we've got a power point, we have a Anderson plug, we've also got our four pad touch switch. Now this actually turns on and operates all the lights through in the canopy. Those canopies also are operated with a remote control, so we can change colours and make them flash as well in case you want to disco while you're camping. Yeah, I know, it's one of those things, but hey, why not? Of course you can. All right, below that we've also got a meter. Now this meter here, that's our water meter, so that'll tell us how much water we've actually got left in our tanks. Okay, so that makes another great feature there as well. All right, I think that pretty well does the back of our canopy. So what we can do is we might just move on in and have a look and see what we've got stored on either side of our boxes. Right, so let's start off with the driver's side of the Troop Carrier over the wheel arch here. It's probably a space that's ordinarily lost and not much thought really goes into what's been put in there. However, on this occasion we've taken advantage to fill this side up with all our electrical goodies. Let's take a closer look. Right, as you can see now we've removed the top, which can quite easily come off for easy accessibility. Within the wheel arch we've got all our electrical components. First thing down the back is we've got the ARB Lynx System, I guess the brains of it. This is where all of the wiring comes into, and the Linx then turns on and off the accessories, if you like, from in there. Underneath the ARB Lynx control module, for what better words, is we have a fuse box, and in the fuse box we have the fuse, and we also have the relays which are used for the accessories that come out of the ARB Lynx. So out of the ARB Lynx is only a low voltage signal current, which has then gone through the relays to trigger the relays, and then turns on and off the lights, etc. Alright, next to that we've got our RCD switch, which comes out of the back of the inverter. Now the RCD switch is quite a mouthful, isn't it? Is quite important because that keeps us safe when we've got the 240 volts in the back of the Troopy. As mentioned, we've got the Red Arc 1000 watt inverter. Now this works very good for our needs. It's for charging up batteries, little things like that. We don't really have much that we need to that we need power for in the Troopy. So it's just quite a small one that we've got for this setup, but it suits us down to a T. Underneath the Red Arc inverter, we've got the Red Arc DC to DC charger. Now that enables us to charge up our auxiliary batteries from the front. It's actually a 40 amp that we've got in the Troopy. Again, that works flawlessly too. We don't ever have to do anything about it. It just goes about its business, and we've always got power in the batteries. So very happy with it. It's also got the solar controller attached to that as well. At the front we're running the 100 amp lithium battery. The battery we're using is a Revolution battery in the Troopy, and it powers our fridge basically 24/7, so our fridge never turns off. There's an 80 watt solar panel on the roof that also helps out with the charging of the battery. And look, most mornings by 10 o'clock when we jump in and have a look at our our battery management monitor at the front. It's usually 90-100% anyway, so we don't have any problems with power. Even using the camp lights at night, you might have the radio going, whatever it might be. Kids might be plugging the projector in to watch a movie. We've always got enough power. That 100 amps seems to be enough. In the setup before, when we were running deep cycle batteries, I had two 120 batteries, but this new lithium 100 amps seems to do the job of what those two batteries does, not to mention the weight savings that we have with it as well. Anyway, let's move over to the other side and have a look what we've got tucked in the wheel arch over there. Okay, so over the passenger side, over the wheel arch next to our drawers here, this is where we keep all of our air accessories. So the compressor, our pressure control valves, etc. And also, as we've been through before, we've also got our trusty pantry. So let's take a closer look. So as you can see down the back here, we've got the ARB Twin Air Compressor. Now that air compressor services the little manifold there. Off the manifold, as you can see in the photos, it's quite compact, don't get me wrong, and it was quite challenging to get the components in there. But we have the ARB pressure valve. Now the ARB pressure valve is run from our Link system. Now attached to that, we can control the twin airbags in the back of the Troopy. We can either separate them or have them working together as one. So meaning if we're camped on an unlevel ground, we can actually put 40 psi on one side and 5 psi on the other, and it'll help level the Troopy, so we don't need to be carrying around ramps. So very handy like that, and we can do that from the ARB Lynx control. Ordinarily, I just simply set it at 15-20 pounds on a normal day-to-day use, and every time I start the car it does a check, and if there is a small leak in there, it automatically inflates those airbags to the desired pressure. It really is quite good. The other module that we've got sitting off the pressure valve is also to inflate and deflate tyres. So as I mentioned there earlier, we just simply plug it in and it inflates our tyres to 40 pounds. So that's all controlled through the ARB pressure switch, which is then monitored, the solenoids, all through the ARB Link system. It is quite simple, and I tell you, it works really, really well. It actually surprised me at how well it does work. And also down the front, as we have been in, we've got the good old pantry. That's where we keep all of our goodies, you know, all the foods, snack foods, and anything, yeah, breakfast cereal. I'm actually surprised at how much we can fit in that little small compartment. And as you can see, the pipe that runs through from the front to the back to carry our poles. Alright, well that's just about it here onto the wheel arch. I guess next things next is the inside, so let's go take a closer look at what we've got inside the Troop Carrier. Just behind the fridge, we've got a little secret compartment where we keep our recovery gear, and that can also be easily accessed from the rear seat. So here we are in the front of the Troopy. So up the front, I guess the first thing that you'll notice is that we've got the Recaro seats. Now we've opted to go with the Recaro seats because, as you're all well aware, the standard seats in the Troopy probably just a little bit hard, and as you get a little bit older you probably opt to go for just that little bit more comfort. So we've opted to go for the Recaros. Now we also went to go for the leather instead of the fabric, that way we didn't have to worry about seat covers. And I don't know about you, but when I'm out, and occasionally, yes, you get bogged, I just get in muddy with the crap all over me and I don't really care. And with the leather, you just simply wipe it off and they look as good as new when you're done. So that's why we've opted to go for those. Starting from the far side, over the passenger side, we've fitted a RAM mount which holds our mini iPad. Now the mini iPad, it can run anything from the Hn7 Maps, I don't know, through to your Facebook if you like. Whatever it is that you want to run on your iPad, you can do it right there when you're driving. We find it good. We can angle it towards the driver so we can use it as an extra mapping device, or the passenger can simply redivert it round towards them and they can go about their business doing whatever it is they want to do on the iPad. With the comfort of it being on a stand. Now the stand of the RAM is quite good. We've been on lots of corrugated roads and it doesn't seem to move around all that much, nor does it move. So I do recommend one if someone's looking to hold an iPad whilst they're driving along. Underneath the iPad we've actually got our phone cradle. So the phone slips into the cradle and it just goes about its business. It's actually the berry cradle, and you can replace the face on the berry cradles, you know, as you update your phones, etc. So it's no big deal there. Underneath, we're running or next to the phone, we're running a scan gauge. Now the scan gauge can tell us what the motor's doing. It can read faults, it can clear fault codes and do all sorts of things like that. It can come very handy, especially if there is a fault that puts you into limp mode. I'll give you an example. Early days when I had another performance chip in the Troopy, the car just stopped. It went into limp and I couldn't drive it anywhere. So I cracked the code open, worked out what it was, and it worked out that it was the little performance chip wasn't doing its job. So we unplugged it, put the harness back in, and away we went on our merry way. If I wasn't able to do that, we probably would have been on a tow truck. Anyway, moving right along, we're running the Hn7 Mapping System. Now the Hn7 works quite well. Well, it does work well. It's very complex, so you really need to understand it to use it, but we have it there running around in the background anyway. It pretty well runs every day whenever we're travelling in the Troopy. Underneath it, we've fitted the Polaris stereo into the Troopy. Now, with the Polaris, it runs on-road maps and off-road maps as well. So, as you can see, we're running 3 types of maps. One we've got through our iPad, the other one through the Hn7, and then the Polaris system through the radio. So, no matter where we go, we'll always manage to have maps, you know, because, you know, sometimes one of your mapping softwares might crash and you go, oh, what am I going to do? Well, we've got other backups here, so that's all good. Doesn't really pose as an issue. Underneath that, we've got twin USB chargers, which we can use to charge up the phones. And I know what you're probably thinking. You're probably thinking, with all these lights and accessories on the car, how does he turn it all on? Well, as you can see over here on the driver's side, we've got the ARB Link System. Now, the ARB Link System controls all of our lights, water pumps, any accessory we've got in the car. It really is quite a good system. In fact, as we scroll through the ARB links, it tells you your voltage there. It can tell you airbag pressure on the back. I don't know, all these things about the angle of your car on, probably things that you really don't want to know. It can also control the temperature of our fridge. So with the Elements Fridge in the back, we can change the temperature up or down. If I just simply go there, I can say I want it -13 freezer mode, and then done. Voila, there we go. I'll just put it back onto fridge, otherwise all those beers will start to explode. So we'll just go back to the fridge mode there. You can also see it's got an unlock. I can lock the fridge. How good's that? So I can lock that and I can keep the kids out, or even your mates if they're trying to scab a beer out of your fridge. There you go, look at that. Moving right along, we've got the traction control, the ARB diff lockers. So if we hit the rear locker, it turns the front on. As you can hear, the compressor fires up, and we've got that. We can simply turn the front off or the rear off, whatever. So there you go. So rear traction, front traction. So there you go. So they turn on your diff locks, and it's as easy as that, just as a push of a button. That's the pressure gauge, which we went through earlier. We can use that to inflate or deflate the tyres, and then we can just simply turn on our lights, etc, etc. Another good one about it is that you can see, if I put the car into reverse with the accessories on, you can see the roof lights come on there. So we can actually program this fella here to come on with reverse, parkers, headlights, whatever you want it to do. So we can just reprogram without having to rewire it. We can just tell it what to do here, or we can just simply override it and turn our lights on and off from the front console. So it really is quite good. Down underneath the links, we've got the Safari Armax controller. Now with the Safari Armax controller, it's got your 5 speeds. So you've got, you know, your standard, sports modes, towing modes, etc, etc, and you can adjust that from the switch right there. One thing that I did miss on the way over was on the other side of the steering column, we've got the cruise control. So this is the aftermarket cruise control fitted to it. So this works like any cruise control. You sit her on 100 and away she goes. She sails away all day. Righto, back over this side, underneath the ARB links, I've got a battery link switch. Now the battery link switch, that just simply links the main battery to the secondary battery, and the main reason I put it in there was because if you ever ran the lithium battery flat, it needs a jump start effectively to get it going. So instead of having to put leads on it, I just hit the link, jump starts it, turn it off, and away we go, business as usual. We've got the Red Arc, we're running the Red Arc tow, or brake controller I should say. So with that, the Red Arc, we just set it to your desired like you would, you know, set it to 3 or 4, and it operates the brakes onto your operates the brakes on the caravan. Up the top, we've got the switch there. The switch actually turns on and off the inverter. Next to the switch, we've got the battery monitor. Now this battery monitor monitors the batteries to our auxiliary battery, and the one next to it operates the batteries to our crank battery. So I've got a shunt on both auxiliary battery and crank battery. Next to that, we've got the 27 meg radio with upper and lower sideband. Probably don't see too many of these fellas anymore, but we got one in the old Troopy anyway. Next to that, it's a bit of the kid coming out in me. We've still got the bass control for the subwoofer under the back seat. You can drive the kids crazy with that one. On the head console, we're running the hand pieces for the 27 meg and the UHF. Now, the UHF radio's got its concealed unit in under there, so we just got the head unit there, which is quite good. Now, also on the head console, we've got 2 speakers. Now, those speakers run into an amplifier, which amplifies a signal from both our UHF and our 27 meg radio. Because being in the Troopy with the windows down, it does get a little bit hard to hear out of the little speakers, so we've got them wired up to this via a separate amplifier just to make it a little bit easier to hear. Alright, the head console itself is pretty good. It's got some units in it that we can store extra bits and pieces, which is quite handy. And we've also got a touch slide in there as well, so we can turn the touch slide on and off as you will. It just makes it easy at night. You're not fundling around looking for switches, just touch the light and on she comes. Either side of the console, we've got our hats, so they're there all the time just sitting up. So if you ever forget your hat at home, no problems at all. We just grab the hat and away we go. Now, in the back seat, there's nothing really special about it. We got 6x9s in the back seat to run off the radio. It's just basically the standard seat, and we've got the transmit aerial for the Cel-Fi in there as well. So that's pretty well that in a nutshell. I'm sure I've forgotten something, but hey, you've got a bit of an overview of what we've got into the Troopy. So there you have it. That's the walkthrough of our 2011 Troopy as she sits here today, being 2022. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. That sort of gets us to show you what's in the Troop Carrier, because often we get asked, geez man, nice Troopy, what's in it? Well, now you know that's what's in it. What I'll probably do too in the following months is I've got some footage and some photos of stuff of when we rebuilt it back in 2020 when the old COVID-19 hit. So what I might do is I might scramble all those together and we'll do a video on the rebuild of it there as well. It might interest you. I've also got some footage of what it was like before we rebuilt it. It was still a nice truck. I just wanted to upgrade. I guess at the end of the day it got to 11 years old, and we're going to buy a new one, but I just couldn't bring myself to sell this. It's just been a really good truck. It's never let me down, kind of grown a bit attached to it. So instead of selling it and buying a brand new one, we decided to give it a birthday. So that's what we did, and here she is today. So I hope you like our Troopy just as much as we do, and until then, I'll see you next time.